Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, for this video, I want to talk about Charlamagne the God and these rape allegations. And first, I'm going to start off with a summary of the case, what the case is about and where the case is right now. And then after that, I want to provide my commentary. So, I hope people are able to tune in right now. I was just on a live stream. I did a test and I announced that I would do this video right here. And after this one, I'm going to do another video. So I want to thank the people who are tuning in right now. So recently, some rape allegations have resurfaced against Charlamagne the God. Back when he was 22, back in 2001, he allegedly raped a 15-year-old girl by the name of Jessica Reed. She's now 32 years old, and she has recently talked about like reopening the case. There's a petition that has been posted online where people are calling on iHeartRadio to fire Charlamagne the God. They want him fired from the Breakfast Club because of these allegations. And I want to share my thoughts about this. So, this is what happened. Charlamagne the God was accused of raping this young girl, Jessica Reed, back in 2001. He was arrested and charged with second-degree criminal sexual assault with a minor. And at the time, Charlamagne the God was 22 years old. Um, he was accused of unlawful engagement in penile and vaginal intercourse with a 15-year-old child. The case went to court, but apparently, according to these reports that I have read, the victim was uncooperative. So it would be difficult, if not impossible, to bring a case where you have the key witness not cooperating with the prosecution. So you had her not cooperating. She was only 15 years old. And according to the articles that I read, her mother did not want her to cooperate because she thought that it would be harmful for her daughter. But in retrospect, I think that that was the worst decision the mother could have made, because now here we are all these years later, like 17 years later, and this young woman now, she's 32 years old, is still suffering as a result of this incident. She still has pain. She still does not have closure. So this is what she says happened. She says that she was with Charlamagne the God at some party or something, and apparently he allegedly drugged her. Put something in her drink, similar to the Cosby allegations, and she was highly intoxicated. And at that time, he proceeded to rape her, and that's what she has accused him of. Now, Charlamagne the God, because this young woman did not cooperate with the prosecution or the police, Charlamagne the God was able to work out a plea arrangement where he pled guilty to delinquency of a minor. He was put on probation for a limited amount of time. Um, and also, according to the articles that I read, an examination was done like shortly after this incident occurred, and the examination corroborated, the fact that a sexual assault did in fact occur. So this is a very, serious matter. Even though he was not convicted of raping this young girl, um, he did plead guilty. He did enter a plea agreement. So that tells me that there was some kind of culpability. And I understand that when people face the risk of going to trial, and they don't know the likelihood of the outcome, sometimes people plead guilty to things that they're not guilty of. But here we have a situation where there was an examination shortly after she was allegedly raped, and it confirmed that she was in fact sexually assaulted. Now, at that time, I don't know if they had DNA evidence like they do. Well, they should have, because I think that was after the OJ trial and stuff like that. So they should have been able to get DNA evidence tying him to this particular assault. And I'm sure that they probably were able to get that evidence. So I want to know more about that. Did they do DNA, and did it confirm that he in fact was the person who had sex with her? Because that would make it an open and shut case if you look at it from just like the physical standpoint. So Charlamagne the God did this interview with DJ Academics or whatever, where he basically denied the allegations. He claims that the girl came to the house and she got drunk and all that kind of stuff, and he claims that he left, and then he said that there were some charges brought up against one of his cousins or whatever, or he heard that there were charges brought up against one of his cousins, and then he voluntarily went to the police station to find out what happened to his cousin or whatever, and it turns out his cousin was not arrested, and then he said that he would volunteer any information to make the situation right, or he takes full responsibility for anything that bad that happened or whatever. And because of that, he claims that he got caught up, and because of that, he got charged and all that kind of stuff. But according to the articles that I read, apparently there was a warrant out for him before he even went to the police station. So there's some question about whether or not that whole story that he came up with during that interview with DJ Academics was even valid at all. It sounds like that's just something he made up. So this is very disturbing. And I also listened to Jessica Reed's interview. She did an interview on Star, and when I get a chance, I'll post a link in either the description box or in the comments, so you all can check that out and listen to it for yourself and judge her credibility for yourself. But this whole thing raises several questions. You know, um, and before I go into that, let me just say this. I also read another article that basically said that the prosecution is not going to reopen this case. They said that there was a plea deal entered that resolved the case. The criminal charges were resolved by a plea agreement, um, and they negotiated because the victim again did not cooperate with the police. They said that at the time there was a lack of evidence. So, I mean, that's a very serious thing. And then also, they said that due process requires the state to honor the plea agreement. So the state cannot back out of its agreement after they've reached it with, Charlamagne the God. They can't say, well, hey, let's reconsider. We made a mistake, so let's go back and let's pursue this guy. But that's kind of interesting because when you look at the Cosby case, they it wasn't a plea agreement. They just decided not to bring charges. So I guess that they still had the option to later bring charges, even though they decided not to at that particular time. That's different from the prosecution working out a plea agreement with the accused. So that's sort of the distinction here. And so you had that situation. So this case is not being reopened. In terms of a civil lawsuit, no civil lawsuit can be brought because there's a statute of limitations with regard to civil lawsuits, but there is no statute of limitations for criminal lawsuits according to the articles that I've read so far. So I just want to take some time to just share a couple of my thoughts about this situation, and I'm going to go back through your comments and respond to them in a second. But the first question I had is like, why did the mother refused to have her daughter cooperate? I mean, she claims that she wanted to prevent her daughter from suffering, I guess, suffering from having to testify before the court about what happened. But when you look at the situation right now, I mean, apparently she has suffered over the years, assuming that these allegations are true, she has suffered over the years as a result of this experience. Here we are 17 years later, and she still experienced the pain from that. She still does not have closure. So obviously, this mother made a poor decision when she advised and encouraged her 15-year-old not to cooperate with the authorities. So, I mean, that's deeply problematic. And I think that the daughter, obviously she has every reason and right to be outraged about the crime that was committed against her, but she also should be angry with her mother for ill advising her, for giving her bad advice and telling her not to pursue the matter. Now, I understand why people are often reluctant to pursue these kind of matters because their whole reasoning comes into question. Like people question their judgment. They say, well, why are you at this party with this 22-year-old guy? They question the mother and her supervision or lack thereof. Say, why would you allow your daughter to be hanging out at night and drinking and stuff like that? All those things come into play. Like the victim is the one that's basically put on trial a lot of times in these types of cases. So in a sense, I can understand why the mother wouldn't want her daughter to testify, but at the end of the day, by refusing to testify, she has allowed an injustice to occur. She's allowed a man to allegedly get away with raping her daughter. And I can't imagine how any parent would do such a thing, would just, not cooperate with the authorities. I can't imagine something like that happening to one of my daughters, and I just decide to tell my daughter not to testify or not to speak out against that injustice. I mean, in a way, a mother that does something like that is basically collaborating with the person that has perpetrated a crime against their own daughter. That's what she's doing. And it's just a shame, man, that something like that would happen, man. And, when I first heard about this talk about reopening the case, I immediately thought about like double jeopardy and all that kind of stuff, even though this case didn't go to trial. But again, they had a plea agreement, and because of that, they can't back out of that plea agreement. Otherwise, most criminal defendants wouldn't even enter plea agreements if they knew that the prosecution could later back out of the agreement years later and try to pursue the case again. So yeah, that's one thing. And then, I want to talk about like whether or not I think he should get fired. And it's a very difficult situation, man. It's something to really think about. So Pure Brother Butterfly asked, has he been convicted? No, he didn't. He pled guilty to a lesser charge. He pled guilty to contributing to the delinquency of a minor. So that's a charge, that he pled guilty to, and I think that that speaks to his culpability. The fact that he would plead guilty. Obviously he did something wrong, but because of the lack of evidence, since you didn't have the victim testify or come forward because her mother ill advised her, we didn't get a chance. There was no trial, there was no evidence presented and all that kind of stuff. So there was no judgment as to whether or not he was guilty of the original charge of second degree criminal sexual assault with a minor. So that's the problem. But the question is, like, um, should he be fired from the Breakfast Club because of something that happened 17 years ago? You know, um, that's the question. What do y'all think about that? I want to hear from y'all before I go forward with my comments about it. Yeah, I'm gonna shout y'all out in a second. Um, so Nikki Justice said yes, he should be fired. Why do you think he should be fired like 17 years later over a crime that he did plead guilty to a lesser charge, and because of that, he was on probation for a limited amount of time or whatever. Some would say, well, he's paid his debt to society and he has gone on to live his life. He hasn't been accused of this conduct in the future, like since then. As far as I know, there are no other outstanding allegations of sexual misconduct. Why shouldn't he be allowed to continue with his life? You know, continue to to live a successful life. Why should his life be disrupted over something that went to court and where he entered a plea agreement, he lived up to his end of the bargain or whatever. He hasn't committed these kinds of acts in the future, and it makes me think about this whole thing about like prisoners, people who have served their time. um, they've served their time for a particular crime, and they've paid their debt to society. Should they continue to be penalized for something that they did in the past if they've served their time, or time, whether it's probation or whether it's an actual sentence? Should they continue to be punished? And we know that people who are ex-offenders, they continue to be punished well after they have committed their crime and served their time. For instance, they can be discriminated against in all kinds of ways, denied job opportunities, they can be denied housing, they can be denied like student aid based on past offenses. So it makes it difficult for someone to re-enter society, for someone to go back into becoming a citizen and not go back into jail when you close doors of opportunity to people. So that makes me think about that's part of the reason why I'm like torn on this issue. Like, I don't know if it's appropriate for this brother to be forever condemned based on something that he did in the past. That where he did in fact plead guilty to something, and he did serve out the sentence of that particular plea, and he has not, engaged in that conduct as far as we know since that plea arrangement was entered, that plea agreement was entered. So what do y'all think about that, man? Do you think he should be fired? And and I understand, like, I mean, it's a big issue, especially with the Me Too movement. And I don't think that people should be able to get away with crimes like this. I don't. I think that that's wrong for someone to be able to get away with a crime. But then again, you have a situation where the victim didn't cooperate, and you had the mother basically encouraging this 15-year-old girl not to cooperate. So it's like, and I understand like a company like the Breakfast Club or whatever, iHeartRadio, their brand being associated with a rapist, somebody that's been accused of rape, somebody that has pled guilty to the delinquency of a minor and stuff like that. I understand why they wouldn't want their brand to be associated with such a person, and I think that they would be within their rights to fire him based on that. But it's just, the question is like, would that be a sound business decision? I mean, would that be a good thing to do? And and I understand like when people have gone through like a major, you know, situation like sexual abuse, like rape or whatever, that's not something that you get over or something like that. That's something that people continue to suffer with. And I understand like how somebody could be still thinking about something all these years later. And that brings me to another point with Charlamagne the God. And I'm going to get to your comments in a second. That brings me to another point about Charlamagne the God. I mean, this guy is somebody who's very judgmental on his program, on the Breakfast Club. He's always like dissing people and very disrespectful to people and stuff like that. Very judgmental, condescending and all that kind of stuff. But here this man is with these damn skeletons in his closet, man. With, this kind of stuff going on in his background, man. So I can understand, like, why people would call for him to be fired. And frankly, I'm kind of torn on this issue. I like to be on one side or the other, but I'm kind of torn on this. Like, I think that that obviously there's more to this case than what he was convicted of, what he pled guilty to. Obviously, there's more to it than that. Um, I don't think that someone will plead guilty in such a case where the witness isn't even coming forward if there wasn't something that he did wrong, if he didn't do anything wrong. I don't think he would plead guilty. So it raises a lot of serious questions, and it does raise questions about whether or not somebody like that should be on their program. But it's like, can somebody ever reform themselves? Like, that's a question that needs to be asked. Like, should somebody be forever punished because they made a horrible decision at a young age. Like he was 22 years old. So that's part of what has me torn, man. Like, should he forever be prevented from earning a living or, being on the radio because of some horrible decision that he made years ago? And perhaps he could use this as like, I mean, it's a bad situation all around. I mean, there's no good answer to this. Because I understand that the woman is suffering. She continues to suffer. And at this point, there won't be any payout or anything like that because she can't bring any civil charges, a civil lawsuit against him because of the statute of limitations. The prosecution has already said they're not, reopening the case. So it's done from a legal perspective, but in terms of like the advocacy perspective, that's the question. Like, should people sign that petition? And I have links to the articles that I rely on for this particular video. If you all are interested in signing that petition, it is posted in one of those articles. But I'm torn, so I'm gonna go to your comments and see what y'all are saying about this issue. And it makes me feel bad that I'm torn because I do believe that when people commit crimes like this, they should be punished, and I don't think he was punished. But the sad thing is, the mother is partly to blame for him not being punished. But anyway, let's go through these comments real quick. Yeah, so Elaine Lloyd said, if he's still, she said, if he's still judgmental or mean spirited, he didn't learn and don't feel that bad. Nikki Justice said he was not punished. So, I mean, from what I understand, he just had some probation. So that is not punishment. I mean, that is not real punishment. Even though probation, I mean, that is a form of punishment, but it's inadequate, assuming that these allegations are true. No, rape's not legal for anybody under a certain age. I mean, it was still, statutory rape and then just outright rape because she didn't consent. She was only 15 years old. So, obviously rape is never legal. Oh, so Nikki Justice said he totally admitted to setting girls up and running trains. Yeah, I don't know if like I haven't seen that, but if you can post a link in in the section so I could check it out. Somebody said no feelings for this makeup wearing coon. And I get that, man. I understand. I'm not going to even front. Like, I don't know why. I understand why people call him a coon. He's been accused of bleaching his skin and all that stuff. Yeah, so Elaine Lloyd talked about like how in a rape trial they can bring up all kinds of stuff about people, like who you slept with, what kind of clothes you were wearing, what kind of piercings you have, how your sexual history and your reputation. So those are all plenty of reasons why somebody would not testify or why they would be afraid to testify. Now, someone mentioned him dissing Monique, and I did a video about that Monique thing. I'm not really sympathetic towards Monique. Not that much. I mean, there were some developments, like you had this communications person use the N word who worked for Netflix, and obviously that's problematic to say the least. Um, but I still have questions about Monique and her whole campaign to boycott Netflix and all that kind of stuff, and her deal and all that stuff. But I won't go into that. Nikki Justice said he's the donkey of the century. Yeah, I'm going backwards in the comments, y'all. So just bear with me. Yeah, he used to work with Wendy Williams. And he is, I mean, in some ways, there are similarities between him and her. He does do a lot of celebrity gossip type stuff. People are saying, dude is done. Yeah, I think this is going to have a huge impact on his career, man. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to get deals and stuff like that. You know, nobody's going to want to equate their brand with somebody that's been accused of rape, especially when they pled guilty to a lesser charge. So Nikki Justice said he did not rape that particular girl, but he did have a big hand in making sure she was drunk and impaired. So Def Rocker said, I think he would leave to save face of the radio station or for his own sake. So Pure Butterfly Spirits asked whether or not he knew he was dealing with a 15-year-old. I haven't heard anything where he denied like knowing that she was 15. Like even in that interview that he did with DJ Academics, it didn't sound like he was unaware of her age. And I didn't see that it mentioned in any of the articles that I read. But that's a good question. Like, but in a sense, like it doesn't even matter. Like if he knew, I mean, it makes it worse if he did know. But under the law, like it doesn't matter if someone knew or didn't know. They can still be held legally responsible or found guilty of statutory rape, even if they did not know the age of the victim. The fact of the matter is, you know, at a certain age, you can't legally consent to engage in sex. Caroline Spencer said the story makes no sense. Where was the girl's parents? And that's a good question. I mean, like, why would you like not supervise your kid? Like 15 years old. I mean, my daughter is around that age, man, and I'm just like, I can't imagine letting my daughter go to some party where she's hanging out with grown ass men. Like, who allows their kids to do something like that, man? Unfortunately, too many parents are absent. And I wonder where the father is, man. If she had a father in her life, you know, I doubt that he would just tolerate that nonsense, man. I doubt that he would tolerate letting her go to some party, hanging out late at night with some grown ass men. You know, I doubt that that would happen. And I doubt that he would tell his daughter not to testify against a rapist. I doubt that. So that's a good question. Where were the parents, man? And this mother is to blame for this problem. I mean, she is partly to blame for this situation. The fact that she would counsel her daughter not to say anything says a whole lot about her character and her integrity. So, Rock Boy 54 asked, somebody said the mom should be in jail. I don't know. Shout out to Psycho. Shout out to DJ Takes No Requests. So Elaine Lloyd said, I read the new Jim Crow, but I don't think he served his time. Yeah, he was on probation from what I understand. Like he wasn't in jail or anything like that. He was on probation for a period of time. Yeah, so Leighton Park said no, he shouldn't get fired, but if more comes out, maybe something else should happen, I assume. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just messed up, man. 17 years later, man. Yeah, so Elaine Lloyd said probation for rape is basically getting away with it. Yeah, it is basically getting away with it. It is, I mean, you're right. But it's just sad that the mother made that situation possible, man, um, by not encouraging her daughter to testify. And I understand all the reasons that you pointed out, Elaine. I mean, those are very valid reasons why people don't testify in these cases. And when you look at what happened in that first Bill Cosby trial, you know, how the jury was unable to reach a verdict and it was a mistrial. I mean, that's part of the reason why people don't come forward. So Pure Butterfly Spirit said he shouldn't be fired, but people can choose to support him or not by listening to him or not. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. People can make the decision. Like they can decide, well, hey, you know, I can't listen to some rapist or whatever. I'm not listening to that. I'm not supporting that. They can make that decision, and you know, they have every right to do so. Um, and I wouldn't be mad at anybody one way or the other. Like if somebody said, well, I'm not watching him, I'm not supporting him because of those charges, that would be valid. Yeah, so B Money pointed out how he gives negative opinions on other men who have had similar accusations. Now, I don't know what he said about Bill Cosby. I wonder what he said about Bill Cosby. If any of y'all know what he had to say about Bill Cosby, let me know. But if he said something about Bill Cosby and that whole situation, spoke down about Bill Cosby and stuff like that, then you know that puts him in a situation of being a hypocrite, man. It really hurts him because he does like try to get on his high horse, but yet he has these kind of skeletons in his closet. Nikki Justice said his own words from the interview are enough. RXP said that dude is a hypocrite, clowning Cosby and doing the same thing. Elaine Lloyd said he didn't only rape the one person. I'm not aware of any other allegations against him, but correct me if I'm wrong if you know about something. And I would think that like these other articles would mention that he's been accused of it before. DJ Takes No Request said that he should get fired. He speaks on everyone else's shit, um, i.e., Bill Cosby. Plus, he's made money speaking about the incident, and she hasn't. She's not looking for money. Yeah, I feel you. I mean, I feel it's like both sides on me. As far as I'm concerned, man, it's just a messed up situation all around. So, Elaine Lloyd said, "Why do we think that a man who gets away with rape will only do it once? That's not true for any other crime." Yeah, I mean, it's or sexual misconduct and stuff and rape. So, in my mind, that's a completely different. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your supportive words. So, Def Rocker said many 22-year-olds think a 15-year-old can hang out with them. Yeah, I mean, 15 is very young, man. That's a child, man. Like when I look, when I just think about my own daughter around that, who's around that age, man, it's just like, man, that is a child. That's not some woman or, you know, like they're not capable of making those kind of decisions, man. So, DJ Wiz 76 said that there's a 2013 interview where he admitted to drugging a girl with Spanish fly and having sex with her. Now, I did see a title to some article along those lines, but I didn't get a chance to read it. But I heard about that. That does sound familiar. So let me go to. I'm gonna go to the end to see what I missed. Information man said he never liked the Breakfast Club. I mean, I'm okay with the Breakfast Club. I mean, I'm fine with the Breakfast Club. They interview some very interesting celebrities and stuff like that. They do provocative interviews, so I don't have any problem with the Breakfast Club. Um, oh, I see. Nikki said mods have to post links. Yeah, I guess only moderators can post links, but you can post it in the comment section after this video uploads. Um, Yeah, and I'm on my phone right now, so I can't really. I don't know how to make people mods on my phone. I would definitely, as soon as I get a chance, the next hangout where I'm on the phone, I mean on my computer, I'll make you a moderator. Nikki Justice said a 22-year-old man hanging out with a 15-year-old. It's only for one reason, and that's sex. Information man. No grown man should be with a 15-year-old. Exactly. I mean, it's like, what are you going? What do you have in common with a 15? You shouldn't even be hanging out with no 15-year-old man, much less having sex with a 15-year-old. What does a grown ass man have to talk to a 15-year-old girl about? And again, that goes back to the question about where were the parents, man? What kind of parent? I mean, I know that teenagers do things without their parents' knowledge all the time. They may go out, say they're going to X place, and then they're going somewhere else. They say they're with these people and they're with those people with somebody else. So I get that, but it's like at some point the parents got to take some kind of responsibility for what their 15-year-old kid is doing, who their 15-year-old kid is associating with, where what your 15-year-old is doing, like drinking and all that kind of stuff and hanging out late at night. The parents got to take some kind of responsibility at some point. So somebody saying that Layton Park is saying he didn't diss Bill Cosby. People were just butthurt about the pudding men's. um, oh, True Royal Family said they did test her and did not find his DNA. Yeah, I don't listen to Lovey T, man. So maybe I'll go check her out. I'm not big on the celebrity gossip, so I don't listen to people like Lovey T and stuff, man. So I don't keep up with what she's talking about. But yeah, I'm gonna have to look up the actual articles about that question because I did think about that because all the articles, none of them said that there was DNA evidence. They said that there was evidence that she had been sexually assaulted, and I know that they had DNA technology back then. It wasn't too long ago. They could have been able to track down like whether or not he was the one that had sex with her or not. Because like even if somebody wears a condom, there's still pubic hairs and all that other stuff, other DNA evidence that can be traced. Like even in that situation, there may still be remnants of semen somewhere or something. So it seems like they would have gathered some kind of DNA evidence on him. Yeah, and shout out to the True Royal family. Thanks for commenting and chiming in and expressing your views. Oh, True Royal said that he just got a deal with HBO. So I mean, I can understand like how somebody like this been a victim of rape, you know, and they see that this guy that perpetrated the crime allegedly is thriving. He's living it up. He's living a good life and all this and that while they're still going through the pain. I can understand why somebody like that would want to reopen the matter and talk about it and stuff like that. But it's just like it's just a shame again, like that her parents, her mother, ill advised her, man. Oh, so Rock Boy said he really lost interest in the Breakfast Club after they buck danced for Hillary and never has asked her any tough questions. Yeah, I hear you on that, man. I'm not a Hillary fan at all. Oh, so somebody said check out 78 Sports TV. Let me write that down. So, man, I got a cold or something. My sinuses are bothering me, so y'all gotta excuse me. All right, let me put. I'm gonna look up that channel, and I may watch Lovey T too. I just can't get with all the antics, all that celebrity gossip and all that stuff, man. Even though, I mean, this is celebrity stuff that I'm talking about right now, but y'all know what I mean. Oh, I see Elaine Lloyd post a link. Yeah, y'all could check out that link that Elaine Lloyd posted. Oh, so True Royal said my oldest daughter had some drama just like this, and I got his ass locked up. That's what I'm talking about. Like that's what a responsible parent would do, man. You wouldn't tell your kid not to testify. That don't even make sense to me, man. I'm not understanding the logic behind that stuff, man. So Nikki Justice said she was raped, but he didn't do it. He facilitated it. So even if he did that, I mean that makes him just as guilty if he helped make it happen. He's claiming that she got drunk and he was already gone by the time whatever transpired occurred. So True Royal said that her daughter was pissed at first, but now she's 36 and thanks her mom. Man, I'm sure she does. Man, it's just crazy that somebody would tell their kid not to testify, man. And here they are, like all these years later, still suffering that same pain. Yeah, True Royal did the right thing, definitely. Oh man, Psycho's yeah. So Psycho is saying that he's hearing that the McClure twins aren't even that guy Justin McClure's kids. Wow, man, I gotta yeah, I hear that this YouTuber that I check out, Paris Malone, was she said that she's going to do some show tonight, and maybe you're like beating her to the punch and already had the news about the real deal that's going on. But she's going to have some show tonight where she talks about like some unbelievable facts dealing with that whole situation. Yeah, man, that's crazy. And I'm about to do another live stream. I'm probably gonna do one on that McClure situation again because I finally saw this video where this guy is trying to apologize, and his wife has a different demeanor now and stuff like that. So I may do a video just on that and just talk about that for a second. But I gotta hear this news, man. I gotta find out about what's going on with these twins and stuff like that because a big part of their whole um, social media empire is built on them having those twins, those being their twins and stuff like that. So if those aren't his twins, if those aren't his daughters, wow, that would be explosive, man. That would really be something. So I gotta stay tuned, man. If you have some information, if you're doing a hangout, just let me know so I can tune in and cite some sources so I can go to them. Yeah, I'm just not into that celebrity gossip stuff too much, man. I mean, even though I'm talking about this guy right now, I mean, usually talking about politics. Like every now and then, I'll talk about issues like this. Oh, I see that. Yeah, Paris did like Paris Milan. You know, she did this little. She did like this promotional video where she's talking about how she's gonna do this hangout, talking about some more detailed stuff and exposing stuff dealing with this McClure situation, man. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, so I see big game. You saw that too. Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that out, man. Yeah, he means Justin. The name is Justin. I think that's who Psycho is referring to. Water Sniper. Shout out to you. Yeah. So Water Sniper, where did you find out about that situation, man? You know, let me know in the chat room. How did you find out that those aren't his twins? Like, what's the source for that information? I'm going all the way off topic. But yeah, I'm gonna do another video on that McLaren situation. I may just tune into Psycho, man, and see what's up with what you had to say about it. Black Power 25 said Charlamagne better not make no R. Kelly jokes. Yeah, that's real talk right there, man. Elaine Lloyd said that's the kind of mother who would let her boyfriend rape her child. Wow. Oh, Water Sniper said she already did it. Maybe I was watching an old video or something, that old promotional video, man. So she already did it, Water Sniper? She already did that follow up video? I'm gonna have to go to her channel and check it out. Yeah, she's one of my favorite YouTubers. New, well, I don't know if she's new. She can't be new, but she's one of the YouTubers I check out, man. She had some video talking about Boyce Watkins and his business practices. I mean, at this point, is anybody surprised by anything Boyce Watkins does as far as his business is concerned? I mean, you already had Yvette Carnell telling people he wasn't paying her and this and that. You had the Charles Wu situation, and then you had a situation with Paris Milan. I'm like, man, I mean, if you just did your basic homework, you wouldn't even got caught up in that situation with Boyce. But she's my, I like her though. I like Paris Milan. So I'm gonna have to check out her channel to see that video where she talks about that McClure situation. All right, y'all. Hold on one second. Yeah, and the twins were born like I see Miss Red said the twins were born in 2013. And according, like from what I understand, some of those tweets came out in 2013. And Water Sniper said people are digging up more things about him. I'm finding more people. I'm sure there's more stuff. I'm sure, like I imagine this is probably just like the beginning of it, man. Yeah, so I'm gonna watch that video that I saw, like where the wife is interviewing this guy Justin McClure, um, and asking him about his racist statements. I mean, it's just funny to see how, because of the damage that this whole story has done, all of a sudden this wife is changing her tune. All of a sudden she's acting like she actually cares about racism. Because when this first came out, she was like all dismissive and saying, well, this is not even racism. People are blowing this out of proportion, basically. And with this video, I mean, it just shows you how disingenuous somebody like a Crystalline Carrison is. Like, I mean that. I mean, I'm gonna try to chill, but that woman tried to make excuses for this guy, and he's like coming out basically admitting that his statements are racist now. Now she has egg all over her face. I mean, Like, how many times does this have to happen to this Crystalline Kerosene chick, man? It's like she had the Veganator situation. And that reminds me, I was checking out this video that Chris Miller posted about that guy Veganator real quick, basically saying that he's a white supremacist. And I was like, let me go check out this guy's channel and stuff like that. He has some channel called Alpha White Male or something like that, where he's espousing white supremacist viewpoints. But yet, this is the same white man that all these silly, delusional Negroes running around here celebrating and, high fiving and trying to get on their programs. I mean, these people look like complete fools now. But that's a whole nother subject. So, Big Game Orenthal said, I like Paris, but she's still suspect. But this was just pure heat. Why you say she's suspect, man? So Def Rocker said, did I watch China's video? I unsubscribed from her. I unsubscribed from her, so I haven't watched her videos in a while. Like I unsubscribed from her when the whole situation with her and those tweets that she put out, disrespecting black men was exposed. Like, her and this swirling history. I can't take that woman seriously, man. She's a joke to me. I can't take somebody seriously that, all of a sudden overnight they became some pro black militant after spending years like idolizing white guys and disrespecting black guys. All of a sudden now, like over the past couple of years, they're all pro black and militant. Man, I can't take somebody like that seriously. So I don't watch her videos. I'm not subscribed to her channel. But if there's something that I missed, feel free to let me know what she was talking about or whatever. Oh, somebody said that. True Royal said that one of her subs told her that she paid Boyce $600 and didn't learn shit. He asked her for more money. I mean, that's not surprising, man. I'm not surprised at all, man. Unfortunately, he just like the rest of them on here, man. Getting his hustle on and stuff. I mean, that whole Charles made it a wrap for me, man. I was done after that. I mean, there were other things that I questioned, like I questioned him on other things, but it wasn't like to the degree where I was like, I'm unsubscribing. But that Charles Wu situation took it over the top. And I mean, at this point, nobody should be surprised. But anyway, I'm gonna try to yeah, so I'm gonna go back and check out that video, man. Somebody said Paris Milan already did the video about those twins, father and stuff. Yeah, so Elaine Lloyd said the white guy was trying to be like Gary Owens and failed, making fun of black people, getting black people to laugh. Oh, Miss Red said that her first husband was white too. Wow. They're pimping those twins. True Royal said they're pimping those twins, and that's a damn shame. Yeah, I mean, you have people that do that all the time, pimping child celebrities and stuff like that, milking them for money and stuff. Yeah, it's messed up, man. DJ Wiz said that Crystalline Kerosene would defend Hitler if he dated a black woman. Yeah, you may be right about that. Because that woman is pathetic, man. And I don't want to even talk about her any further, man. I think my last video said it all. The last video that I did on her. Yeah, those swirlers literally make me sick, man. Yet these people are so merciless and so ruthless in their vitriolic attacks against the black man. And those kind of people really make me sick. I mean, I received comments to that last video I did about Crystal and Karas, and you had all these people basically saying, well, black men say worse. So why are you getting mad about this white guy? I mean, that kind of stuff, man. That kind of stupidity, man. Yeah, so somebody said they just came in. Yeah, I was just talking about the Charlamagne the God situation. If you watch the beginning, that's what I was focusing on. But I'm touching on a few things that are just coming up in the chat room. Yeah, so Psycho said, yeah, China is hypocritical and can be very irrational. Yeah, man. I mean, she's very emotional, gets all animated and stuff like that. And I guess people like that. I mean, it's entertaining to watch. But I just can't take that woman seriously, man. A woman who, was talking about how she had a preference for these white guys, and we expect, like, over the past couple of years, her to all of a sudden turn over a new leaf and become some ultra pro black militant. Come on, son, I don't buy it. You need more people. I don't believe you. You need more people, man. That's how I feel about her, man. you know, I mean, on here it's easy, man. It's easy to be some pro-black advocate and get a lot of people supporting you. You could be fake as hell because this is just entertainment as far as some people are concerned, man. But anyway, I don't want to focus too much on them, man. On her. I've done a couple of videos about that situation, and one thing that really set me off with her is like this whole Stephon Clark situation. She was basically turning a blind eye on this brutal killing of this brother by these stinking police simply because he put out some tweets, and then it turns out she got her own tweets in the closet. Her own skeletons. But I'm done talking about her. Let me quit. Let me quit talking about her. Yes, Big Game said it's the same thing with Cynthia G. She admitted she wasn't woke until about 4 years ago. Now she's the foremost educator in white supremacy. Yeah, man, it's like that's the thing about YouTube, man. Anybody can get on here. Nobody's checking your papers, man. Nobody's checking your background and stuff like that. You can get on here and be whatever you want to be, man. And people go along with it just because you're entertaining and stuff, or because you look a certain way. Um, they'll run with it. You know, they don't check your background or nothing, man. And that kind of reminds me of the song T.I. has where he's basically talking about these rappers not being who they pretend to be. And he said, you got to check up on these people, man. And I feel the same way with these YouTube personalities, man. But that's going to get me all the way off topic. But yeah, I'm going to close out this video right here. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. And I want to be back up about another story dealing with police corruption, where you had these pigs basically setting up black people, random black men, putting fake ass charges on black men, making it seem like black men committed all these crimes when they didn't. They just picked some random black people to frame for different charges, man. And this just reaffirms like what I've said about these police, like how they're not trustworthy, how you can't believe anything that many of them say, and all that kind of stuff. So y'all look out for that. I'm probably gonna post that in about an hour or so. It may be earlier than that, like this one. But I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate your support. And with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings to each and every one of you.